Hey everyone, it's Sarah and welcome to this edition of Log On with Student Life. Today we're going to be talking about something that I know for a lot of you can be a little intimidating, but it is something necessary that we need to combat in this world, and that is small talk. Now, some of you, this may come pretty easy. You may be a naturally outgoing person. You can walk into a room full of strangers, not a problem. You can talk to them. But if you're like me, it can be a little bit nerve-wracking and you kind of have that small talk anxiety going on. And it's an issue. It's something that it is necessary though, whether you're at a conference for a student organization or a job, you're at a job conference, or you're at a business after hours networking event trying to expand your professional network, maybe get a job. Whatever the situation is, small talk and networking is necessary, but it doesn't always come easy. So what happens when it doesn't? Well, I'm going to share with you a few tips that I have found work for me over the years. These are a combination of things that I have learned at workshops, at conferences kind of dedicated to the subject of networking and small talk, and also just kind of some tips that I have in my own toolbox that I use whenever I find myself in these positions that I might need a little bit of coaching for. I'm going to share with you 5 tips that have helped me. Hopefully they'll help you as well. So tip number 1 is pretty simple, and that's just to go up and introduce yourself. This can be the most nerve-wracking part though, and I completely understand. So if you find yourself in a situation where you maybe have a coworker or a colleague, or there's a friend that you know from across the room, you always ask them to introduce you to other people. That's a really good way, and it kind of takes the pressure off of you. But if you're in a situation where you don't have that person to kind of fall back on to be the lead for you, just get it over with and go introduce yourself. You can always go up to someone with a firm handshake, with a smile on your face, and say, "Hi, I'm Sara with BridgeValley. I don't think we've met yet." Boom. You're done. It's as simple as that. Tip 2 is for once you've made it past the introduction point and you're actually engaging in conversation. And this can be one of the hardest things to keep going. So my tip for this is to ask open-ended questions. Now, once you've kind of started talking to somebody, say it's a work function, say you're at a conference for work, and you don't want to ask somebody, "Oh, well, do you like working for ABC company?" That's a closed-ended question. It's a yes or a no. You may want to ask something like, "Well, what do you find most fulfilling about your job?" Or if you're at a school conference, "Well, what do you like most about your school? How does your student organization operate?" Whatever it is, ask those open-ended questions to get a response that is not just yes or no. Now, step 3 is to listen. We definitely want to have a conversation and dialogue going, but if you're really feeling a genuine connection there with someone and you want to keep the conversation flowing, the best thing to do is to just listen to them. Listen to, do you have anything in common? Are they mentioning anything about their hobbies maybe? Do they work in a field, or do they go to a school that could add value to you professionally or personally? Listen to what they're saying, and then in turn, kind of phrase your responses or your questions to kind of keep that going. And be an active listener. Don't just stand there. Don't look on your phone. Phone should not be out during small talk or networking. Just be an active listener and be present in the moment. Tip number 4 kind of goes along with listening, and that is to pay attention to your body language. So yes, it's important to go up, be approachable, talk to people, introduce yourself, genuinely respond whenever you're in a conversation, listen to what they're saying, but you also want to make sure that your body language is not off-putting. And what do I mean by that? For a lot of people, whenever they get nervous or they find themselves in a slightly uncomfortable situation, they'll do this. All right? They'll cross their arms. And whenever you're in situations with small talk or networking, that's a big no-no. And it's something that you're going to have to practice, because a lot of times we naturally want to do that. But make sure that you have your body language approachable, that your arms are not crossed, and that you're there in just kind of a calming, open way. And that will denote to people that, hey, you're a friendly person. I'm going to talk to that person. Now, tip 5 is also pretty simple, but it's something that a lot of us, once we're on a roll with small talk, we're excited, we've introduced ourselves, we're chatting. Sometimes we want to continue on that. But tip number 5 is to know when it's over. Sometimes you're going to find yourself in situations where you're just really not connecting with the person, and that's totally okay. You're not going to connect genuinely with every single person that you meet, especially if it's a networking event. That's kind of the nature of it. You're in there, do a quick meetup, get your information, exchange business cards, and then head out. And that's totally fine. So you need to know when it's over, and you need to plan a polite exit. So a few ways to know when it's over is you can kind of sense the other person's body language. Are they slowly distancing themselves from you? Are they slowly kind of running away? Also, their voice inflection might signal if they kind of seem a little bit dismissive or passive. And also, are they even listening to you? That's another thing. If you don't feel like they're actually listening to you, then they've probably tuned out of the conversation. Maybe it's run its course. So how to get out of it, you can simply just say, well, hey, thank you. It's been really nice chatting with you. Here's my business card, or here's my contact information. I hope to talk with you again in the future. You can also use an out. If you find yourself in a situation, maybe you're talking to someone that is vibing with you, but you're not really vibing with them. And you can always use an out like, well, you know what? I'm going to go to the ladies' room. It was really nice chatting with you. Or I'm going to go get a refill. It was a pleasure meeting you. You can always use an out if needed. But remember, just know when it's over and politely say thank you and carry on. Now, another thing I want to touch on is if you are at a small talk or networking event and you really want to engage with people, but maybe you just don't know what to say. Maybe it's really hard to go up to somebody. And I totally understand that because it's hard for me. And so I kind of have a few what I call conversation starters. And they're things that I have in the back of my mind should I find myself in a situation where I'm feeling extra anxious, extra nervous about going up and talking to people, but I know I need to do it. I need to push myself to do it. These are some things that I think can help you spark those conversations. So the first thing is somewhere that has a seated dinner or even like cocktail tables, you can always go up to someone and say, excuse me, is this seat taken? Do you mind if I sit? I don't know how many times I've used that one. And I've found myself at events where I have a plate full of food and I don't know anybody, and that's really kind of my go-to if I'm in a situation like that. I'll just find an empty seat, go up to them, and ask if I can sit there. And chances are they're going to say yes. You're going to automatically have the exchange of pleasantries of who you are, and you're going to kind of automatically have a conversation during dinner. So that one's a really easy one. Another thing you can do is if you're in a buffet or a food reception type of situation is actually when you're in the buffet line getting your food, you can comment on the food to somebody that's beside you. So you could say things like, oh, have you tried the desserts? Which one do you recommend? Or you can comment about the dip or, whatever it is. But engaging people in food is another good way to start that conversation. You can also go up to someone and compliment them. And I will say that this kind of only works if you are genuine about it. So I like to use, if somebody has a really nice bag that I like, or if they have a necklace on that's really pretty to me, I'll go up and let them know. I'll be like, oh my gosh, I love your necklace. Where did you get it? And they will tell me, and I'll probably say something like, oh my gosh, really? That's just beautiful. By the way, I'm Sara. It's nice to meet you. And boom, there you go. And you can use that for pretty much anything. Necklace, shoes, a tie if you're a guy, any type of accessories. But again, it needs to be genuine. But that's a fallback that I've learned. If I'm in a situation, I can always probably find an accessory that I want to compliment. Another thing to keep in mind is that whenever you are at a networking event, you're all there for the same reason. So if you're there for a work conference or a student organization conference, you automatically have something in common with everybody. So you can always go up to someone and be like, oh, well, what brought you here to this conference? Have you been before? Is this your first time? What did you think about the keynote speaker, the morning workshop? So you're already there, you already have something in common, and you can always use that as a conversation starter with people. And a final conversation starter that I have used with great success is kind of one that seems a little bit counterintuitive, but that is simply, you know what? I hate small talk. Or, you know what? I hate networking events, don't you? Chances are that person is going to laugh, and they're going to say yes or yeah, they're always a little awkward. And then you can just pick up and go from there. I don't know how many times I personally have used that at events, and it has worked out fabulously. Obviously, don't pull that out unless you really know your audience or if it's inappropriate at the event. But when in doubt, just be honest with people, and chances are that person is going to be just as nervous as you are, and you're going to get along perfectly. Now, a few takeaways from this is, of course, this is just a framework. These are just ideas. These are things that have worked for me. They may work for you, and I hope they work for you. You also may find some strategies that work a little bit better, that suit your personality more, and that's totally okay. But just a few things that I want you to remember from this is to just be social, and that practice makes perfect. I know that these events for a lot of us are things that are, very nerve-wracking, and that's totally fine. I'll say, the more you put yourself out there, the comfortable it'll be. Now, it may never be completely like second nature, but you're going to get more comfortable with it. You're going to find your go-tos. You're going to find what style works for you. And again, it's all about putting yourself out there. And if it is a little bit challenging to put yourself out there, then fake it, okay? Fake it until you make it. How many times have you heard that? But it's true, all right? If you're feeling very anxious inside and you are terrified of this networking event, don't let it show. Go out there, introduce yourself, act like you're the most confident person in the world, and over time, it's going to get easier. And one last thing I want to leave you with about the small talk is next time you find yourself in a situation, whether, again, it's a conference, it's something for work, it's a student organization event, whatever it is, the next time you find yourself in a situation where small talk or networking is required, challenge yourself to meet 3 new people. All right, that's it, just 3. Challenge yourself to go up, say hi, maybe exchange numbers, business cards, or even just say hi to someone. All right, but challenge yourself to meet 3 new people every time that you're at one of these events. And again, practice makes perfect, and over time, those nerves are going to diminish a little bit, and you're going to get more confident in your small talk and networking skills. Thank you all for listening. I hope that this at least gives you some tools to be able to help the next time you find yourself a little bit nervous about small talk or networking. Again, these are just things that have worked for me that I think are very valuable, and I wanted to share with you. If you have any tips that you would like to share with us about how you overcome small talk and networking anxiety, then please let us know in the comments. I would love to know too, and I'm sure that your fellow Pathfinders would love to know. So thank you all so much, and I'll see you guys next time for Log On with Student Life. Bye!